Discussion on the bill. Mr. Huffman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to associate myself with the ranking member's remarks. And of course, I represent a district that has vast federal public lands, every type of federal public land. I have seen my share of catastrophic wildfires and disasters, and so it's very personal to me. Of course, in these situations, I want to see popular recreation areas and trails reopened as quickly as possible. I know from personal experience that any member of Congress worth their salt in the aftermath of a disaster is going to be leaning in to work with the Forest Service and Department of Interior to get these things reopened as soon as it's safe to do that, as soon as they have the resources to do that. And that's where a stubborn and rigid one-size-fits-all mandate and deadline like this bill proposes just doesn't make any sense. Unfortunately, we also see the continuation of something we've seen all too often in this committee, trying to force in more categorical exclusions, overbroad categorical exclusions, mandatory use of categorical exclusions. The federal land agencies already have multiple categorical exclusions that they can use whenever it makes sense. They want to get these sites open too, by the way. Nobody disagrees about the importance of getting these sites reopened. But using this as a wedge to try to take a few more bites out of NEPA and other environmental laws is just more of the same tired song that we hear in this committee. So look, I will work with any member of Congress who has a popular recreation site or trail in their district that needs to be reopened in the aftermath of one of these terrible fires. I will partner with you. We will make it happen. But let's not do stubborn and unworkable deadlines and mandates and pretend that that's going to solve the problem. And let's stop attacking our bedrock environmental laws. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Mr. LaMalfa, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The tired saw is that somehow the legislation that was made 50 years ago by people is somehow sacred and untouchable. Indeed, when we're talking categorical exclusions, there are still environmental considerations made in the process. So in Representative Kim's bill, a 2-year deadline for getting the work done to revitalize the community, revitalize its economy, and the people being in touch with nature is not unreasonable, especially if when we're talking exclusions, we're not talking a pristine forest or a pristine untouched area or something that's in a wilderness area and has no entry allowed into it. We're talking already existing infrastructure that merely needs to be put back more or less how it was. And a timeline that would be making it restored for a community to recover from a fire or other disaster is not unreasonable. 2 years is a long time for people to wait to have reentry. We're talking about the danger of being in these areas. Well, the people doing the work are the ones causing the danger to be dissipated, to be removed. When we have dangerous trees, we have them all over in my district, right around the town of Paradise and other areas. Any of these massive fires that we have, one of the first jobs is to make sure the power lines that are knocked down or hazardous trees that are still standing that may fall, you can hear them cracking in the wind sometimes. Those are the first things you need to go after. And this is what you need sometimes categorical exclusions to do in order to get at those so they're not falling on someone's house or making someone's home inoccupable like in a fire that's hit a town. And in this case here, being able to go back and use our national parks. So the tools that are needed for Forest Service, for BLM, if that's the case, or even the parks themselves. I take, for example, Whiskey Town in my district in western Shasta County, and the efforts to get the trails restored after the car fire. You know, why would we have delay when we have people ready to do it, especially where appropriate, volunteers that want to help restore their trails with proper supervision, et cetera. So let's get the effort done. This bill is not unreasonable. What I find unreasonable is the continued hijacking of the concept that, oh, we're somehow trying to undermine the laws when these are tiny tweaks to laws that humans made 50 years ago and that they need to be course corrected anyway. So I yield back.
Gentleman yields back.